right, let's go to your phone calls in this segment, the next, and then everybody who's there will be able to talk to Max Kaiser, ask him any questions. And at the bottom of the next hour, I'm going to air a drug ad that I heard on the radio that was so off the charts, I had to play it here. They're all incredible. But when we found it online, there's a parody video with it, but it is the drug ad, because I heard it on the radio for basically one of these speed drugs they're trying to get the public on. Number one drink now is the 1 hour energy and stuff that's, you know, not dangerous, I would say, on average, compared to the pharmaceutical stuff. But whatever happened to good old-fashioned coffee? The average American working 2 jobs, a lot of folks working 3 jobs, and now they want to put people on stuff that basically the military uses. Folks, if you know what speed does, it makes people go crazy. And, of course, when there's more mental illness and more insanity because of Big Pharma, their answer will be take our guns, take our rights because other people are out of control. That's the collectivist view. You're not an individual. You're a collectivist because somebody did something bad on your block. You're going to the gulag, too. It's your job to keep your eye on your neighbors. That's the Soviet way. Let's talk to Chris in Delaware. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex Jones.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. I want to touch on a few things. Recently, we had the JFK 50th anniversary. And we don't talk much about us going to the moon. And
that's because I know multiple people that worked at NASA who were good friends of mine. One of them's dead, Raymond Teague, died a few months ago, who were running, you know, cameras on the moon and were there at Mission Control. I can watch the film, see them there in Houston, and they say we went to the moon.
And you believe that?
I've known Raymond Teague for 15 years, and he's one of the sweetest people I ever knew. And he was the real deal and didn't lie about it. He said they would have had to have a whole fake mission in orbit to fool them, but they saw the distance, the time for the radio signals to get there. He said that there was clearly some fake PR photos and stuff put out, they believe, so that people could, you know, see some PR production. But I've talked to Stanley Kubrick's daughter, you name it. He wasn't involved in it. People just make that up and say it with no proof. I mean, look, I just document what I can document. I don't think it really matters at this point. We know they've hoaxed a lot of stuff, but go ahead and make your point about it.
Well, I mean, there's a few videos on YouTube I'm sure you've seen, and even Fox put out a special about how the moon landing could have been a hoax. Now, I'm not saying we did not go to the moon. I'm just saying the way they put it out is not the way I believe we went to the moon.
That's actually what I was told by Dr. Bob Bowman, who's dead now, the former head of the Star Wars program, but he wouldn't talk about it. He said it was classified. I mean, that's the deal. I mean, look, my dad, as a small child, saw bat-winged stealth bombers that are the stealth bombers they rolled out in 1989 or whatever. I saw the stealth fighters outside Dallas fly over and turn their afterburners on when I was like 6, 7 years old. You know, a good 10, 15 years before those came out. So there's a bunch of secret stuff, undoubtedly.
Let me move on to my next point. Have you heard of the elitist called George Green?
I've heard that name. I'd have to refresh my memory. What about it?
Okay. Well, he supposedly...
Oh, yeah, he's the guy in Colorado who got into the meetings, right?
Yes. Why don't you have him on the show?
I have had him on the show. That is a good idea to have him back. I just had to take a second to click. We'll be right back.
Now you can watch The Alex Jones Show live as it happens at Infowars.com/show.
You'll find links to all of our content there and a free 15-day trial for Prison Planet TV.
More than 60 movies and documentaries all in one place at Infowars.com/show.
Right now, let's go back to your calls. Robert in California, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. Hi. How you doing, Alex?
I'm pretty good, brother.
Okay, I got something to tell you that you are right about this stuff, about the microphones and the HD cable boxes, the new ones. Oh, man, it was a trip because we got ours like 2 years ago, but you said about that maybe like 4 years ago. Then I seen on Popular Mechanics magazines and all that. Well, I believed it, though. I was like, okay, that's, you know, I mean, the technology is imminent, you know. So anyway, I was talking to my guitar player 2 years ago, or my drummer, about we're talking about musical instruments. He goes, "What's your favorite guitars?" Gibson, Fender, Ibanez. I said, and my computer was not on the internet. As soon as I got off the phone, I turned on my internet. Right there, Guitar Specials, Gibson, Fender, Ibanez, the same order, which is like,
well,
okay.
I don't know that happened in that case, but Google for 8 years has had a patent and listens to your microphones, cameras. We told you the FBI without warrants dials in and uses the cameras and microphones. They allowed the Washington Post last week. Like, they had to get permission to admit that the FBI is committing crimes. I mean, imagine being that big of a toady. Look, I busted open a Scientific Atlantic cable box. The video of it somewhere, like 15, 16 years ago, like 1998 if memory serves, on cable access TV, and showed people the frickin' microphone that was not in any use then, quote, for interactive stuff. Now there's cameras, microphones. I got an article today about mannequins in the stores have face scanning cameras hidden in them. They're going to roll out with flying dust that can shoot footage of you soon as things keep miniaturizing in just a few years. They already have it. The Pentagon, flies over with a drone, releases 1,000 little bug bots that are electronic and go around and can even crawl in your ear and have small explosive and detonate and blow your head off, or deliver a bioweapon. And people are like, man, that's science fiction. It's 2013, boys and girls, and the globalists are 35, 40 years ahead. So it's 2050, 2045. We think we're in 2013. Do you understand that, folks? We're not in 2013. We're in 2045, 2050, and that's the best I can tell from all my intel sources. It's the year 2045. That's a way to get our minds around this. And, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you talk about how they torture people's kids in front of them at black bases, dark bases, secret bases, ghost bases, all over the world, and it's because they like to. And then they brag in the news to introduce it there many times, like, yeah, we brought their kids in and did some stuff, and they answered the questions about where Al-Qaeda was at. That's all just made up. They're just telling you they did that to introduce it into your mind like a virus, that torturing a kid's a good thing. And all these sitcoms and dramas and movies in England and Germany and the U.S. and 24, all those shows. How many plots, you can look them up, where they torture kids. Before 9/11, I was reading a law enforcement magazine. I think it was SWAT magazine. And it was a terrorist who's going to release something like 20 anthrax bombs. You can go look it up. I don't remember the exact number. He's going to detonate them. It's going to kill thousands unless you torture his 12-year-old son. And then the article went on to say, go ahead and torture him. You're going to save people. And they were infecting the cops' minds. And again, I was at a 7-Eleven, grabbed the magazine randomly. Don't read those cop magazines very often. Opened it up, and it was how to torture a 12-year-old boy in front of daddy when a militia guy is going to release anthrax. Now, about a year and a half later, the globalists launched 9/11 and launched the anthrax. It's all just pre-programming, and the cops are all reading this, and it's just turning them into evil demons. Because their authority figure, they're picked because they follow orders, their authority figure says, well, you know what they did to Abu Ghraib? They raped children in front of their parents. The truth is they just like to rape children. I mean, these are demons. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. And it just hit me. It's Friday the 13th. I'm not superstitious, but knock on wood, don't walk under ladders, don't break a mirror today, and get home safe. I tell you, folks, it is Friday the 13th. Thank you so much for joining us. By the way, we got an article going up soon at Infowars.com with a bunch of the bombshell quotes from former Congressman Ron Paul where he talked about how he had trailblazed the path for his son to run for president, and how he's now wrapped his mind around the idea of Rand becoming president and helping to restore the republic. But he covered a whole bunch of other issues on the economy, how it's doomed to implode by design under fiat banking. It was just, I think, the best interview I've ever done with Ron Paul. And I'm on his show, by the way, Monday. And we'll be posting that at Infowars.com. But Ron Paul interview will be posted with the video in the next hour at Infowars.com. Paul Watson wrote an article this morning. White House front group vows to target alternative media. And I don't cover what Media Matters does because they're a powerful group. I cover them because they're such an anti-American group and such a window into the open treason and open manipulation of the media that's going on. The White House brags, and Media Matters brags, they have weekly meetings. They have a bunch of former White House officials that run it, that run Media Matters. And the reason it matters is not that their website that no one hardly visits, no one even listens to, they're a laughingstock, a joke. They got a bunch of trendies, wearing miscolored socks on there as camouflage to make themselves look non-threatening. They're actually a PSYOP corps on record. And the head of it packs heat and is all paranoid but doesn't want you to be able to own guns. I mean, it's classic. I'm talking about David Brock, of course. These are not liberals. These are authoritarians. And the reason this story is important, and we're going to go to Max Keiser, who we're getting on the line right now. You never know where he's at. It could be Cairo. It could be Russia. It could be England. It could be the U.S. I'll ask him where he's at when he comes on with us in a minute. The reason I mention this is I co-wrote this article this morning with Paul Watson. It's got some quotes by me in there. White House front group vows to target alternative media. Well, the memo came out 3 years ago that they would actually get jobs in the media to sabotage them from within. So it's a paramilitary group, basically. And they go on to say Media Matters set to intensify attacks against Drudge, InfoWars, in concert with Obama advisors. They've had the Pentagon come out and freak out over DrudgeReport.com, and they're freaked out over WorldNetDaily.com and Infowars.com over anybody who aren't just total authoritarians. It's not about left or right. It's about not being an authoritarian because we're hurting them so bad. Now, they delusionally claim victory over Fox News, who's full of its own brands of propaganda, and say they've defeated them with George Soros, who funds them. Fox News is bigger than ever. CNN, MSNBC are imploding. But the reason this is so important is that I've seen it before they even admitted it in the last few years, where there'll be an attack on Media Matters, and then word for word on CNN or MSNBC, it comes out. And now they brag to the Huffington Post, and that's linked here, that they indeed do run CNN and MSNBC. Now, why doesn't the White House just send it over? Well, that's so illegal, especially when they're getting stimulus money in MSNBC and other things, and their parent companies are getting bailout money. It's already so illegal. It's still illegal what they're doing, clearly, according to federal and state law and just common sense, that they have to have this pass-through group of interns, basically, that the White House, they have weekly meetings, passes them the talking point and emails them daily the talking point, and so you can tell who they're upset about. DrudgeReport.com, Infowars.com, they run around like chickens with their heads cut off on a daily basis, bleeding out politically. They literally are chickens with their heads cut off. Because a chicken with its head cut off really does run around with blood spurting until they pump out and then they fall over dead. But a chicken can run around for several minutes. And they are, or if you've ever worked as an exterminator, I did this for just a few months. It made me feel too bad. I quit doing it, obviously. One summer, I worked on the ranch, and the next summer they had me working as an exterminator. Point is, when you spray a bunch of roaches down under a house in a crawl space, they start having sex. And that's basically what these people are doing. They're just running around declaring victory, rearranging deck chairs, polishing silverware, throwing each other, politically on the table and humping each other. I mean, this is basically what's going on. Declaring delusional victory. It's like Hitler in the bunker, commanding armies that didn't exist. And they've now declared victory over Fox. That's like they've declared victory over the sun or something, totally out of their power. And but you have to understand, this is the White House. This is directly the White House that doesn't want to look pathetic and weird, countering us, so they have this little chicken running around bleeding out doing it, but it's literally like a Mars rover of the White House. And they're listening right now. They admit they're listening. They write articles about us every week. I mean, it is a badge of honor, you twits. It's like the Brady campaign came out and said, ban all the guns. Alabama gets a failing score for not banning them. Yeah, they got a low crime rate compared to places that have banned the guns. It's a badge of honor. You don't control reality. You don't dictate. Oprah Winfrey doesn't call people racist that don't like Obamacare. Go to Hades, Oprah. Don't play your race card, you race pimp. We're all in a rebellion against the banksters. Left, right, center, we don't care. We want freedom. We want currency freedom. We want individual freedom. We want travel freedom. And we know what's happening.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.